Go live.
Good
Ta-da!
button pushing. Well done, Podfeet.
Huh? Right
Yeah.
on the.
So let's switch
thing.
audio back over to Mimo.
Oh, okay.
We'll turn off
Going
Discord.
back over to Mimo.
Not turn it off.
There
But
we go. There we go.
so am I loud
All right.
enough for you?
Yeah. You're actually much quieter in Mimo Live, which is handy for me. I actually even had to turn you up a little bit. Alan's here.
Alan made it.
All right, so let's do a little bit of roll call here. We've got Alan and Kevin and Jason and Rose and Rick and Rob Dunwood and Sandy and Kelly. And go down the sidebar. We've got, who we got here? Lindsay the daughter. And let's see, I don't think Mike Deweese is actually in here. We've got Rose, and is Rick here?
Yeah,
Yes,
Rick's
Rick,
here.
I already read Rick. Okay.
Yeah.
And I don't see anybody else. We got some Titan bots in there, so it's possible that Tyson Ernst is here. Tyson, if you're here, give us a shout out. So I was just saying before we started that Tyson Ernst is going to have me on ACB Radio, which is, I hope he isn't here so he hears me muck this up. It's the American Something for the Blind. ACB Radio Blind. What is ACB for? American Council of the Blind. But he's gonna have me on as a guest on his radio show on ACB Radio. All right. Oh, Alan knows the S Podcast guys. Oh, cool. Everybody does. All right. Let's sure we
Getting
can hear
some
playback
jittering
here.
on your video and audio.
And you know what? My Wi-Fi didn't turn off. Here?
Say again?
Am I still here?
Yes. Did you do something?
And I lost your audio when I did that. That's nice. Bring this back. Can I hear you now?
How about now?
Nope. Okay. I'm going to quit Mimo Live and go back in.
All right. She will be right back, folks.
All right. Can I hear you now?
Yes. And
Well, you think I can hear you, but I can't. Let me get you back. Talk again?
how about now?
Nope. I'm going to have to listen to you in Mimo Live, or in
Discord?
Discord. Roll call. Okay, Alan, that is my favorite.
Yeah. That's my favorite skit on SNL.
Oh my gosh, I love that skit. Roll call. Why can't I
The
hear
fact
you
that
in
they're
here?
the cheerleaders for the chess team, that setup in itself is worth it.
Like they're
How
not
do you
as
go
cool
wrong?
as the chess team.
Right.
Oh, that's good. All right. I think I am going to go ahead and... Oh, let me do a quick playback. Make sure the live audience can hear playback.
John,
Can you guys hear that?
did you hear
Can
the
you
music
guys-
chat room?
Did they hear the music?
Good.
Yep.
Thank you.
Good. All righty. Why can't I hear you? There's a thing that I check that... hang on.
How about that switch you
This
flipped
is-
earlier today?
Yeah, the one I said, this is how Allison hears Steve.
It was the YouTube live input in the upper left.
Yeah.
And that bit by Will Ferrell with the cowbell is my second favorite.
Yeah.
Actually,
Okay,
that
talk
may
to
be
me.
my favorite. How about now?
Nope. Oh, I know what it was. Talk to me again.
How about now? Testing. 1, 2, 3.
No. I need to put this back.
You do have your Mimo volume turned on.
Mimo Live is... I should be able to hear Mimo Live.
All right.
Yeah, I've lost it. Yeah, audio aux. Should be that. Change it to this. Change it to this. And I still don't hear you. Nope. Oh, hang on. Let me change it again to red. Oh. Huh. Well, let me change it to red. All right. Well, I've fiddled that dial as much as I can. I'm going to have to listen to you in Mimo Live, but I'll just
Discord?
mute in Discord. Yeah.
All right. We can do that.
Okay, so I'll just mute Discord when I need to talk. Then you don't have to remember. In fact,
Okay.
you can talk over me. What do I care? Nobody listens to me anyway. All right, so we've got playback. I've armed that track. I'm going to mute Discord. There we go. All right, here we go. Hi, this is Allison Sheridan of the NosillaCast podcast, hosted at podfeet.com, a technology geek podcast with an ever so slight Apple bias. Today is Sunday, January 17th, 2021, and this is show number 819. Well, before we get this show started, I'm going to say hi to Jason Castingway, and all I'm going to say is that Tyson made me do that. Okay.
I think Tyson just appeared.
Oh, no. Did he? Tyson, I wonder if he heard it. All right. Okay, is somebody tell Tyson how to get into the audio there? All right. That was cool. So I don't know whether Tyson heard that. When you name them, they come. Yeah, that's great. Okay, so I want chit chat next. Okay, here we go. Oh, no, I want to go back to this one. And I want a chapter mark. There we go. I did not hear that. Copy link. Copy. Did it work? No, it didn't work. What's going on? I'm letting Steve's audio be on again. Saving that. Maybe I don't have Keyboard Maestro. Things have been turning themselves off. Yeah, Keyboard Maestro wasn't running. I don't think. Let's try that again. Oh, no. Phooey. I need to know how to fix the keyboard. He told me how to fix Keyboard Maestro. I hit it, though. Okay. Cancel. No. Maybe it stopped. I think it stopped. Okay. I had the wrong window up in front, and that doesn't work. Okay, let's see. I'm not hearing my plinks. But it's working. Okay. So, Rob, I bet, is interested in how this is being done. I'm just triggering a macro written by Mike Price, who I don't think is in the live audience tonight, to put in my chapter marks, pulling them from my blog posts. But I think my audio is set to something odd because sound effects, yes, there they go. They're not to my headphones. So I'm not hearing it go plink like it's supposed to. All right. So now we'll go here. So we're going to remember to do a chapter mark count at the end. Nobody can leave, especially Kevin, until we do a chapter mark count.
You got it.
All right. Muting Steve. This week on Chit Chat Across the Pond, we've got another installment of Programming by Stealth. And in this one, Bart teaches us how to deal with conflicts in branches of our code when we're using Git as a version control system. He's been purposely only changing one thing at a time in our code before now, but it's time to face the reality of when two branches change the same line in the same file. Now, I've been terrified of this topic for a long time, but Bart shows us how easy it is to see exactly what the conflict is, how you can back out of merging it if you make a pig's breakfast of it, as he says, and how to resolve your conflicts without fear. I have to tell you, it's not nearly as terrifying as I thought it would be. You can find Bart's amazing tutorial show notes, of course, over at pbs.bartificer.net, and you can subscribe to Programming by Stealth by looking for it in your podcatcher of choice. All right, Mike's here. Okay, now we're going to do another chapter mark. It's going to be a lot of chapter marks. What is that? Is the ice cream truck coming?
That sounds a lot like an ice cream truck. Haven't heard him in a long time.
Why didn't that work? What am I doing wrong? All of a sudden I'm doing something wrong.
Are you highlighting the right window as you do the...
I am, but I think I know what's going wrong. I think I've got the wrong... No, I'm not highlighting the right window is what's going on. Okay, so copy link. Copy. There it goes. No. What am I doing wrong? I'm hearing the blink, blink. It's never Mike's fault. Okay, smash down all keys. Hit an H. I hear the blink. Copy link. Copy.
There you go.
There it goes. I don't know what I'm doing. I can't tell what I'm doing wrong. God, Jason's amazing. No, Mike, it's never you. It's always something I'm doing. So have no fear. All right. So next. Ruh-roh. Where is the... Oh, there it is. Okay, here we go. The app Bartender has been one of my mission-critical apps on my Macs for many years. I basically can't stand to use a Mac that doesn't have Bartender on it. Without Bartender, I wouldn't have room for all of my menu bar items, even though I use a 16-inch MacBook Pro. Well, it turns out Bartender 4 from MacBartender.com is out in public beta right now. This has been redesigned and is only for macOS Big Sur. My video tutorial on Bartender 4 has just been released on Screencast Online, where I teach the viewers how to use all of the amazing new features of this awesome app. I know that I'm sounding really superfluous. I'm so excited about this app, but I really love Bartender. I have to say, I'm actually really bummed that all of my tools are not yet ready for Big Sur because I really miss these new features in Bartender 4 on my main machine. I've included a teaser video of the tutorial in the show notes, and if you want to watch the entire thing, go to screencastonline.com and find the Bartender 4 tutorial. From there, you can either start the free 7-day trial of the service, or, you know what, just give in and become a member. You know you're going to do it eventually anyway, so just get it over with and join up. All right, that's Bartender. See, I told you there's just a whole bunch of little things going on in the show today.
This is going to be a short show.
Well, no.
Yeah.
Chit Chats or Security Bits is really long.
But I mean the live show.
Yeah, it might be.
Unless you play a lot of Security Bits.
Yeah, you never know. Okay, it's Boot Loop a Go-Go.
Yeah.
Is next. So, okay, let's see. Do this right. Okay, so I want this up in front and go here and go... There's my keystrokes. Does anybody here listen to Mac OS Ken?
I do.
Because I checked with him on the exact spelling of a go-go. Is it upper or lowercase g's? Does the dash go with the other word? You know, exactly how to do it. So I got his reading on it before I even considered, using a phrase like that.
He does have it trademarked, I'm pretty sure.
I think he does.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, I'm cheating. I have my door open so I can... I'm wearing different headphones. I started wearing these open ear headphones, and I can actually Steve through the door. I can hear him, so I'm cheating listening to you that way now. Too. He just said, "Hey, Al." All right, nicely done. All right, it's time for Boot Loop a Go-Go. That's weird. This isn't showing the... It is not showing the featured image on this, and I know there is one. I didn't let that get into draft, did I? hang on. I'm going to refresh my local copy of these things because this shows security bits and chit chat of being. Okay, they're all published. Okay, I feel better now. I still don't have the icon on Bootloop a Go-Go, but that's okay. I'm sure it's fine. All right, here we go. A few weeks ago, I told you that the M1 Mac Mini was pretty awesome, but that shortly after getting it, it got into a boot loop. Basically, I tried to reboot and it just kept rebooting and rebooting and rebooting. Eventually, I ended up in system recovery and it seemed to ask me to reinstall the operating system, and I was pretty annoyed that a brand new system, literally in less than a week, I had to reinstall the operating system. I think I know now why that happened, and I'm pretty sure I didn't need to reinstall the OS after all. I think I left you with a discouraging view of the M1 Mac Mini, and that wasn't really fair. I think there still is a problem, but it's a different problem. I'm still super excited about the speed of the M1, and I noticed that speed in really unexpected ways. For example, deleting files is like using a bug zapper. I never thought of deleting files as a slow operation, but with the M1, the files just kind of seem to vaporize, just like blink, they're gone. It's really, really fast. And it's funny, it makes me want to just delete more files because it's really fun. Another thing I've noticed in speed is how instantaneous it is to send an email from mail.app. It's so fast you might actually think it failed to send. I also really like the look and feel of Big Sur, so I've really been enjoying using the M1 Mac Mini. Steve, you're not going to believe this. I'm going to unmute you so I can hear you. But somehow this version of the blog post has that double S that you saw. Okay. I think you're muted, by the way. I don't think anybody heard that. Because I'm listening to Discord.
I just took a screenshot of it and put it in the chat room to prove it that I saw the same.
So I don't know what happened here, because he showed me that he said there was a double S, but then when he went to look at it again, it was gone, and I never got rid of that double S, but now I'm seeing it in my local copy.
Just for clarification, this is the blog post that Allison's currently reading, and it's the second end of the second paragraph, last line of the second paragraph.
So are you looking at the real published post?
Yep, and I just refreshed. So
tell me this: does it have a featured image of the back plane of the Mac Mini?
Yep, and that came through on the when I put the blog post in the chat room. The featured image came through.
Okay, so I don't know where to. If I fix it here and push this, we'll lose that featured image. So somebody remind me to go find the double S later.
But
actually, you could fix it, Steve.
Yeah. So when I went to edit, it wasn't there. That's what I couldn't figure out. Let me do it right now. Oh, it is there. Okay.
Oh, come on. So I must have had it in a local copy that I pushed and then somehow, but I don't remember ever fixing it.
So, okay, for me
go
to
ahead and fix it. Yeah, just fix it. Probably find some more stuff wrong. All right. I'm going to mute you again. So I will not push this post up.
All right.
I've started using the Mac Mini for as many tasks as I can, instead of my normal, incredibly disciplined method of going through my iThoughts mind map from toketaware.com and marching through installing my mission-critical apps. I've just been flinging apps on the Mac Mini as I have the need. At some point, though, I'm going to have to go back to the mind map and figure out if I need to rearrange what I think is mission-critical, because I may find out some stuff really isn't based on this flinging things on as I need them. I need to keep that mind map up to date for when I eventually do a clean install of Big Sur on my 16-inch MacBook Pro. It's only been a year, but I load so much garbage that it's really good for me once a year to be disciplined and scrape it all off and start over. Now, I've mentioned many times that my most mission-critical software is everything Rogue Amoeba sells. You wouldn't hear the podcast without Audio Hijack. I wouldn't be able to control my audio in the live show without SoundSource, and I wouldn't be able to route my microphone and my audio recording software to the live show without Loopback. Not only are these apps mission critical, they're also super fun to reinstall because they throw confetti when you enter your license registration. You know, I kind of wish all apps made you feel so appreciated when you entered your license number. Well, all of Rogue Amoeba's apps require something called Audio Capture Engine, or ACE. ACE is the secret sauce that lets you hijack audio from Safari and record the sound and combine apps and physical devices into virtual audio sources. In other words, ACE is a mission-critical component for everything I do to create the podcast. Now, ACE is not a kernel extension, but I can't tell you exactly what it is. I can tell you that Apple treats it as a kernel extension. So kernel extensions operate at the very lowest level of the operating system, also known as the kernel. Apple has been very slowly but surely locking down the method for applications to access the kernel in order to improve our security, and in macOS Big Sur, they've taken it even further. If you're on an M1 Mac with Big Sur, it requires a whole new digital dance to enable a kernel extension. Now, my brand spanking new Universal Audio Apollo Solo Thunderbolt interface for my microphone has drivers that are real kernel extensions. The Apollo Solo is not yet certified to work with the M1, but I still wanted to bleed on the edge and see if I could get it to work. It was clear I needed to know how to install kernel extensions to run the podcast from an M1 Mac. Rogue Amoeba provides a step-by-step guide on how to enable ACE on an Intel Mac and on an M1 Mac with the new digital dance I mentioned. On the Intel Macs, you simply have to enable the extension from Rogue Amoeba in System Preferences, do a reboot, and you're done. But on the M1 Macs, it's quite a bit more complicated. On the M1s, you shut down the Mac and then boot into recovery. That means holding down the power button on a Mac Mini or the Touch ID button on a notebook until the device reboots. From there, you choose Utilities and Startup Security Utility. By default, the Startup Security is set to Full Security, and it says, this ensures that only your current OS or signed operating system software currently trusted by Apple can run. This mode requires a network connection at software installation time. Now, this mode does not allow us to install kernel extensions. Instead, we need to switch to Reduced Security, which gives us an option to allow user management of kernel extensions from identified developers. Now, at first, you're going to think, wow, this is a really bad idea. They've got this high level of security, and we're going to turn it off. But keep in mind two things. This reduced security is the same level of security as you had on Catalina. But what if you want your cake and to eat it too? You want increased level of security of Big Sur, but you also want to run your kernel extensions. Well, I learned from Paul Kafasis, CEO of Rogue Amoeba, that you can, after rebooting to install the kernel extension, boot into recovery again and set the security back up to full security. Bart and I got into an interesting discussion about whether or not to put it back to full security. I assumed that would be Bart's recommendation, but he said, I would probably leave it at reduced security. He had a perfectly reasonable explanation of this crazy idea. His personal machine is a 27-inch iMac with a Fusion drive, so those are not exactly your snappiest drives around. This means he avoids rebooting at all costs. He says he runs weeks and weeks without rebooting. I think I only learned recently that he had a Fusion drive because I used to complain to him going, just reboot, when something would be messed up, and he would refuse. But now I understand why. For his situation, ever having to reboot to flip that switch to reduce security and back is a non-starter. However, with the M1 and the fastest SSD I've ever used, rebooting for me is only a matter of, a minute or two, literally. So make your own decision on this one based on your tolerance for reboot times and your security preferences. So now back to my story. After following Rogue Amoeba's instructions on rebooting and changing the security policy, I've put a link to Apple's instructions so you can see it all there, I needed to reboot to have the changes take effect. But when I rebooted, I ended up in that boot loop I told you about last time. This time I pinged Stephen Getz while I was in the middle of this boot loop, and he found some articles saying that the M1s sometimes get confused about their startup disk. The last time I ran into this, I went into recovery, and that's where I got confused and thought it was telling me I had to reinstall the OS. I really definitely did not have to do this. Stephen suggested I get back into recovery and look for the option to set the startup disk. When I opened the startup disk, it showed that I had two disks mounted, the M1's internal disk and a bootable backup SSD of Catalina. Now, that bootable backup SSD of Catalina can't boot the M1. The M1 can't boot into Catalina. It's just happened to be plugged into my dock, and that's the one that I use on my MacBook Pro when it's plugged into the dock. So it didn't have anything to do with it. It just happened to be plugged in. So I initially assumed that the M1 was confused by this Catalina volume, and that's why it didn't know from which volume to boot. I actively chose the internal volume as the startup disk, unmounted the Catalina volume, and restarted, and all was right with the world. However, a few days later, I needed to reboot again for some other reason, and even without the Catalina volume mounted, I got into the boot loop again. So I had to go into recovery and tell it to boot from the only volume it could now see. I don't know why it was confused. It was right there. It's the only thing it had available. You can imagine that I really hesitate to reboot this Mac now, but I think I found a way to force it to reboot properly. In System Preferences Startup Disk, if you unlock to make changes, you're given a restart button. So if I click on, it's already selected, the only drive there, because it's the only drive, that's the only thing it can be on. If I use that restart button instead of the one under the Apple logo, the M1 doesn't get into the boot loop. I'm not sure I'll ever know if the problem is fixed, like if an update comes to macOS to fix it, because I hate that boot loop so much, I'll probably always keep using the startup disk trick forever to reboot. Now, in case you're wondering, installing the kernel extension for my fancy pants new mic interface did not work. So I guess they were serious about not certifying it yet. I'm loving this M1 so much, though, that I pulled out my trusty Shure MVI USB mic interface, and I've been using that instead so I could play with the new hotness. I'm not able to do the live show from the M1, but I did record my chit-chat across the ponds this week, or I said that in plural, my chit-chat across the pond and security bits with the new hotness. Now, I'm not certain that the baggage that comes with that Thunderbolt interface from Universal Audio is going to be worth it for the slightly cleaner audio and zero latency. I don't know. They don't have the drivers out, and there's a lot of problems with it. So I'm still on the fence of whether I'm going to go back. I'm hearing a slight clicking on the Shure MVI right now doing the live show. So now I miss the Thunderbolt interface. So I got to figure out what to do. But anyway, they haven't come out with a new driver, so I don't have to make a decision just yet. But I do want to bottom line it. The M1 is as dreamy as I would hope it would be, and I'm really liking just about everything about macOS Big Sur. There we go. I milked it a little bit.
So you haven't transitioned to the M1 fully. Is that mainly because of Mimo Live? Is it what is holding you up?
Yeah, well, remember we couldn't get it to work today.
Yeah, but I knew about that. But are there any other items that are holding you up besides Mimo?
The mic interface, and I can use the old interface.
Okay. The Shure.
Yeah, the Shure MVI.
Got it.
But yeah, Kelly, Mimo Live. I'm not. What's
Kelly
that?
fully transitioned.
Yeah.
Yeah. But she's not using. That's why I was asking. I don't think she's using the same interface.
Yeah, they don't tell you can't use Big Sur on Mimo Live, but it says we highly recommend. And we fooled around with it for probably an hour today, and I couldn't get it to work. But then again, we went back to my Catalina machine, and we could get it to work for a long time after that. So it's possible we could get it to work on the M1. I think it's worth another shot. But I definitely hear that clicking I used to complain about. You guys always tell me you can't hear it, but I can hear it. So
nope.
Like that, it's like a scratch.
We got a little GIF contest here, and Mike just, I think, outdid Jason.
Uh-oh.
With a go-go GIF.
Oh, a go-go. Nice. So Averso says she uses the iRig Pro Duo.
Right.
Yeah, one of the problems is when I'm doing the live show and when I do the video tutorials for Screencast Online, the USB bus just isn't fast enough, and I get these little hiccups, these little clicks in it. And it was actually Dave Hamilton that didn't talk me into. He teased me and told me he was getting Thunderbolt interface. Yeah, so I got the Thunderbolt interface, and it's really pretty and cool, and the audio is just so clean. There's just nothing on it. It's spectacular, but I can't use my M1 if I keep using that. So anyway, it's in the closet. I'm giving it a timeout right now, but I don't know. I should probably stop playing with the M1 and just keep working. But it's really fun. Anyway.
Careful, or I'm going to go grab it.
Yeah, well, you can log into it if you want to.
Yeah, I couldn't use it either for the same reason.
Yeah. All right. Should I do a chapter mark?
I think you should. Let's check it out.
What's our next topic?
I think next is the Wise and Hugh.
Oh,
Why
shoot.
isn't-
You didn't even
What?
notice there's a bunch of stuff I forgot to read.
What?
Look at the end of the... I forgot to talk about being on Daily Tech News Show, and I've got a big old quote about...
No.
nuts.
I'm not seeing that.
Go all the way to the bottom of the post after stay subscribed. There's a bunch of junk down there that I forgot to move into its correct
Oh,
spot.
you mean the main post?
Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm.
Hold on. No.
I've got to go get that link because I messed up. What day was I on? It was Friday, right? There it is. Oh my gosh. So
Where was this?
go to the bottom of the NC 819 post.
Okay. Yes.
Scroll all the way down.
Love the
There's-
KM segments. Very informative.
It starts there. You'll see
Oh,
something that
DTNS?
says DTNS just hanging out there in the middle, and then it says last week on Chit Chat Across the Pond.
Yeah.
Yeah, I didn't read any of that. I didn't finish the post. Oops.
I don't get it because you haven't gotten there yet. You haven't even got to
Yeah,
security.
but
bits.
that's
This is
after the show is over. Look, that's after the sign off. I didn't fix it.
Oh, that belongs somewhere else. Is
All
what you're
that
saying.
should have been at the beginning.
of
The
the entire
show.
post of the main show. Okay.
Yeah.
You want to go back and plug that baby in?
Nope. I'm gonna put it in here. It doesn't matter.
All right.
But it is a little head nod to Mike Price. Hey, is NASA not here tonight?
He is. He came in a little late.
Okay,
He,
because I am picturing his screen right now because he uses Keyboard Maestro to set up his screen for the live show.
Cool.
Yeah, it's very cool. I also want to talk about Daily Tech News Show. So let me see. I'll do that. And I'm going to have to wing. And I got to remember to fix the... You know what? I'm going to fix this right now because I'm going to forget that. Hang on. I'm going to go into Feeder because I already did
You want
the
to
show
show
notes.
us what you're doing?
No, it's not
No?
that interesting.
All right.
Is that right after Boot Loop a Go-Go? There. Okay. Let's see if I can wing this. Oh, well, you guys probably want a chapter mark for that. So, let's see, mash down all these keys and Google taunts Australia. There we go. What did we talk about this week?
On DTNS, it was CES, wasn't it?
Yeah, a little bit.
You reviewed a couple things. Well, you gave your impression of a few things from virtual CES.
Yeah. Let's see. Oh, here we go.
believe.
Okay, I've got some stuff to say. Here we go. Winging it now. On Friday, I had the great fun of being on the Daily Tech News Show again with Tom Merritt, Sarah Lane, and Roger Chang. And in this, we talked about a whole bunch of cool tech news like they always do. But we got into a little bit of a deep dive on some hot rumors from Ming-Chi Kuo about new M1-based MacBook Pro models coming, which I'm totally excited about. Have you heard? They're talking a 14 and a 16-inch screen. Maybe 14 would be big enough for me. Anyway, there were a bunch of cool rumors, but the part of the topic that I got to lead was I talked about some of the things I learned at CES this year, and I had a really good time. So you guys should go check it out in your podcatcher of choice. Look for Daily Tech News Show, and of course, there's a link in the show notes. There we go. All right, now let me just read. This will be an interlude with no chapter mark. I forgot to mention at the front of the show, but last week on Chit Chat Across the Pond, when we had Mike Price on explaining what Keyboard Maestro is and how he got to learning to use it, he mentioned in the episode that Keyboard Maestro seems accessible with VoiceOver. We got some feedback on this from good friend of the show, Keith Watson. Here's what he wrote. Love the Keyboard Maestro segments, very informative. You mentioned that you thought Keyboard Maestro might be accessible using VoiceOver. Our friend Scott Howell and I worked very closely with Peter, the developer, to ensure that it is and remains so. We've been on the beta cycle since version 4 and send comments and issues to Peter on a regular basis. He's extremely conscientious about accessibility and is more than willing to fix anything that may fall through the cracks. I recently went on a cleaning spree and reduced my macro count from around 230 to 163. Although that will increase after importing Grumpy's macros after I finish this email. As a voiceover user who cannot use a pointer, I absolutely cannot live without Keyboard Maestro. After a nuke and pave, it is the second install I perform. 1Password beats it out only because I need to retrieve the license for Keyboard Maestro. It's to the point where if I have to work on my family's Macs, I get super frustrated that things don't work. Then I sit back, sigh, and realize that Keyboard Maestro is not installed. Arg! Now I have to continue like an animal. Anyway, I just wanted to add my 2 cents about how accessible Keyboard Maestro is and give a shout out to Peter for his willingness to add and maintain voiceover in his product. Can't sing his praises loud enough. Love the shows and all that you do. Thank you so much. You always bring a ray of sunshine into my week. Well, I think that's fantastic. I actually didn't realize that it was that accessible. So I really appreciate you writing in, Keith, and letting us know about that. That's fantastic. Keith spent a little bit of time trying to tell me about some of the macros that he creates, and it's crazy what he can do. I mean, it's so many things beyond my imagination. I gotta really learn more. I keep saying I'm gonna learn more and get good at it. I'm not yet, though. All right.
Way to wing it there, Potfeet.
Yeah, that part I was reading.
Well, there was some winging. I was looking at your post.
Was I cheating?
I saw a little deviation. We'll allow it.
I did. It wasn't too bad. It was mostly exactly what he said.
I'm surprised I didn't get a rise out of you on we'll allow it. Normally that evokes something.
What fun is it if I don't get mad at you for doing something? That's good.
Sandy loves your shirt.
Oh, does she? Yeah, I think it's French for something about football, right?
Probably soccer, but yeah, what we would call soccer, I'm guessing.
Football. John Syracusa on the Accidental Tech podcast was talking about there was an interview of the cast of Ted Lasso, and the funny thing about this, it was a Zoom video, and of course it's put on by Apple, and so Apple of course has sent out all of them AirPods Pro, and throughout it they're all fiddling with their AirPods. And mostly it was what's his name, Jason Sudeikis. He had the most trouble. His actually fell out, and he's like fishing around for it on the ground. He was playing with it the whole time. But Juno, I forget what her last name is. She's the one who plays Kaylee. Keely. Anyway, she was fussing with hers the whole time. Keely. Anyway. Hey, what is the original source of... Go ahead.
Many people's ears are not designed for AirPods.
And this was AirPods Pro. So John thought it was hilarious because AirPods fit his ears and AirPods Pro do not. And I'm more on his camp. Oh my gosh, he's got a gif of it. Oh, you saw it too, Kelly? Yeah, I didn't like that guy's interviewing style, but of course the show is spectacular. I think I'm going to watch it a third time.
Frank's asking the question, what is the original source of Like an Animal? Now, I've heard it used most by Renee, but I'm sure he didn't
that's
coin
where
the
I got
phrase. He maybe popularized it more so in the tech world, but I think it's been used many years before that. I believe.
Oh, I didn't see PDX Kurt came in too. And Frank. Along with late John. That's hilarious, Jason. He managed to find a Jason Jason Snell gif.
He can't even shake. He's got those specifically designed ears for AirPods.
Yeah,
those are the
exactly.
older ones, I think. Yeah.
Mine fall out all the darn time.
Yeah. Mine don't fall out at all.
That's because you don't wear them.
I don't use them because they don't fit.
Because they don't fit, right. All right, I'm going to go. I've done my chapter mark duty, so I'm going to go to work, and I'm going to mute Steve. Goodbye.
Bye-bye.
Quite a few years back, Steve and I were at CES and hanging out with our friend Joe LaGreca. I was bemoaning how I wasn't happy with the $100 D-Link Omna security camera I bought, and he suggested we take a look at the WiseCam. Fast forward to today, and we now have 4 indoor Wise cams, 2 outdoor Wise cams, a Wise sensor on the mailbox, 3 Wise bulbs, 2 Wise motion sensors, and 2 Wise switches. The only reason I don't have the Wise scale is because I already had a smart scale, so I gave it to Lindsay after I tested it out. When they partnered with some companies to get no-touch digital thermometers and face masks, and when things first started to get heated up and it was really hard to get those things, I bought both of them from Wise. But I have something to confess, that I think the shine has gone off Wise for me. I've been wondering about the company as they diversified into a crazy number of products. They now make a home monitoring security service, smartwatch, a smart band, an outdoor plug, a sprinkler controller, a robot vacuum, thermostat, noise-canceling headphones, smart lock, and a video doorbell. They even have Wise socks, but those are actually cool. I was also disenchanted with their service when I took my new WiseCam outdoor camping. I spent hours and hours and hours trying to get it into the right mode so that I could use it without an internet connection. I did all that before I left, and I got it working, yet when we got out to Joshua Tree, it demanded that I log into the service to use the app. I had to climb up really high on top of the rocks to get a sliver of a bar to log in, and then it didn't end up recording a darn thing while we were there. Their service was completely worthless to try to figure out why it didn't work. So this week, I cheated on Wise. Over the years, I've come to realize that what makes a smart home smart is when you don't have to tell it what to do. Maybe you program your devices ahead of time, or maybe they just figure it out on their own, but yelling, "Hey, A-lady, turn on the hallway light," is not my idea of a smart home. When I leave my house on one of my long walks and my August lock locks behind me, that's a smart home. When my car unlocks when I walk up to it, that's smart. In 2017, Denise did a guest post for the NosillaCast about the Hue motion sensor that she uses to trigger her Hue lights to go on when she enters a room and off when she leaves. Based on her recommendation, I bought one for our family room, and it works great. I already had the expensive Hue bulbs when she told us about this, and while I could turn them on and off with an app, having them simply know what to do without my daily intervention is what made them smart. You can even with the Hue app and with Home, you can tell it to turn on and off with motion at different times of the day. So they don't turn on when we walk in the middle of the day, but they do at night. In mid-2019, Wise came out with the Wise Sense Kit for only $20. This kit comes with 2 proximity sensors, 1 motion sensor, and a bridge to connect them to Wi-Fi. Now, the bridge isn't some big old thing you got to plug into your router. It's a small square that you plug into the back of your Wise cams via their USB port. You only need 1. You do some voodoo to get the sensor to talk to the bridge, and now you have a motion sensor trigger for the $8 Wise bulbs. Since I already had the camera, that meant I was out a total of $36 for the sensor and 2 bulbs. But here's the problem. While the Wise Sense does technically work to turn on the lights when I go into my studio, it loses connection to the bridge from time to time. I walk in and the lights don't come on. I look at the Wise app and there's a cloud with a line through it next to the sensor telling me that the sensor's offline. Now they've got a hole in the top of it where I can poke it with a paperclip, which I do about 12 times over the following 2 days each time before I remember that I have to go mess with the bridge in order to fix it. The bridge is in a Wise cam above the front window of our house, about 8 feet off the ground. So I have to perilously stand on the back of the couch to reach the bridge in order to reset it. If you know me for any length of time, you know that walking on flat pavement is dangerous for me, so balancing on the back of the couch is a truly bad idea. I've started noticing that the bridge is disconnecting from the network more and more often over time. At one point, maybe, 6 months ago, Steve and I fought with it for hours, and when we were done, not only was my motion sensor offline, the proximity sensor from Wise that we use on our mailbox was also offline. It was so messed up that Wise sent Steve a whole new set of sensors and a new bridge because we simply could not get it to work. In the past year, we've probably lost, about 6 hours of our lives just trying to get the dumb motion sensor to work again. So last week, when the motion sensor from Wise went offline yet again, I poked it a few times with a paperclip, and then I walked into Steve's room and I pronounced that I was done and I was buying another Hue motion sensor and Hue bulbs. He immediately said, "Good." Well, a 2-pack of plain white bulbs from Hue is $30, and the sensor is $40. So that's $70 versus the $36 for the equivalent from Wise. That's a fair amount more. And but you know what? To have it actually work was worth it for me. And once I got to the point, I decided to spring for the color LED smart bulbs from Hue instead, so that Steve can randomly change the light bulbs behind me while I'm broadcasting. The color LED bulbs are $50 each, but you should hear Steve giggle when he changes the color behind my back. It just really delights him, so it's worth every penny. Well, I got the new bulbs and the motion sensor, and since I already had the Hue bridge from my original Hue bulbs, it was a matter of maybe 3 minutes to connect them all to my Wi-Fi network and to configure the motion sensor to turn my lights on and off when I walk in and out of my studio. In only 2 more minutes, Steve had changed them to red and blue, so that was really nice. Not only do I expect the Hue motion sensor to continue to work without losing valuable hours of my life, but there's also other advantages. The Hue sensor, as Denise told us 4 years ago, is very responsive. I didn't realize how long I was waiting for my lights to come on with the Wyze motion sensor until I got the Hue sensor and bulbs in my studio. It's really fast. Hue is also HomeKit compatible, like I mentioned, while nothing from Wyze is, so I was able to add my studio bulbs to my It's Showtime scene, which kicks on at 4:45 p.m. right before the live show. When It's Showtime fires, my LifeX light string on my mantle behind me goes on, my side light goes on via its Wemo plug, the Ecobee thermostat tells the heater not to go off, or not to turn on, I should say, and the iDevices switch in Steve's den turns off the landline. It's glorious to now have all this automated based on time of day and available via high... Okay, can't recover from that. Too many stumbles. Save. It's glorious.
Have you noticed the lights changing behind you?
Hang on. What'd you say?
Have you noticed the lights changing behind you?
Why did I think you might do that?
You kind of queued me up there.
I did a little bit. A little bit. All right. Muting Steve. All right. It's glorious. Where's the It's Glorious? It's glorious to now have all this automated based on time of day and available via Hey S Lady when I want to enable it for Chit Chat Across the Pond in the middle of the week. Now, it isn't a fair cost comparison since I went with the color bulbs, but if I had to choose between the $70 Hue lights and motion sensor versus the $36 Wyze lights and motion sensor, I would definitely go with Hue again. But you know what? I didn't stop there in my betrayal of Wyze. As you probably know, the Wirecutter is a well-known source for finding the best of just about everything. They test everything. They do, they buy 26 different varieties of whatever they're reviewing, and they'll tell you what the best one is. Now, I've made the mistake of intentionally getting on their deals mailing list, and this last week they had the 2-pack of the Eufy 2K camera for only $60 on Amazon. They had done a review and chosen it in November for the best indoor security camera, and that's what they chose the Eufy Indoor Cam 2K for $40, with the Wyze coming in second place. So it was $40 for one, but now it's 2 for $60. So that brings the price down pretty close to the $20 of the Wyze cams. I went off to read why they felt the Eufy was better than the Wyze. The two primary things that caught my eye in the Wirecutter's explanation of their choice were that the resolution on the Eufy video is 2K versus 1080p on the Wyze cam, and the Eufy is HomeKit compatible. I got to tell you, I've been badgering Wyze since the early days to work on HomeKit, and they always tell me they're fixing to make a plan to maybe start thinking about it. I don't think they're ever going to do it. The other factor was I had a $60 gift card burning a hole in my pocket on Amazon, so on a whim, I bought the 2-pack of Eufy cams, because 8 cameras, including our Ring security cameras, is not enough. The Eufy cams are a little square box that rotates around the tip of a small post coming up from a square base. With no trouble at all, other than when I made a typo in my Wi-Fi password, I got the Eufy Indoor Cam on my Wi-Fi network using their Eufy Security app. Now, that's not to be confused with their Eufy Home app, which I downloaded first. Eufy Home is for the robot vacuum, smart bulbs, plugs, and switches, and Eufy Genie. Eufy Security supports Face ID and 2-factor authentication via text message. When I tried to create a login, I got a very confusing message. It said I already had an account, even though this is my first Eufy product. It turns out Anchor owns Eufy, so I was able to use that login, so I didn't have to create a new login after all. Let me find it. Where is the Eufy? I've got one here.
Want me to get that?
hold it up. That's what I was trying to describe by saying it was like a little stick on a post. It pivots around. That's
cute. It's it's like almost like Huey,
Be
Dewey,
right
and
back.
Louie.
Oh, hang on, Steve. I can't hear. It's that?
It's almost like Huey, Dewey, and Louie.
Well, that's what we named our other ones. They look
Silent
more
Running?
Huey, Dewey, and Louie. No, I think the Wise Cams look more Huey, Dewey, and Louie, don't you?
Probably, yeah.
Verso just wrote, "Be right back, buying some Eufy cams." Yeah. Oh, put the link. Make sure you get the 2 for $60 deal. Let me put the link in.
Let's see.
I got it.
Yeah, I got it. 2 for $60.
I got it. No,
It's
I
in
wanted
the-
to make sure Verso's. Oh, you just done it, didn't you? No.
Yeah, I had put it in. I put the first one was
No,
a
you
New
put the
York
art.
Times link, so I changed
Yeah,
it to...
you want the New. Yeah, give the New York Times, give the Wirecutter the credit. They're the ones who found
You
it.
sure? Okay, I'll delete my link.
Okay. I think. I mean, I didn't test them. Why not take money from Amazon and give it to Wirecutter? It's a win-win.
Good point.
All right. Muting Steve. Okay, here we go. I invested my hard-earned gift certificate in the Eufys because of their 2K video resolution. I have to say, it really is terrific. Steve set up the Eufy right next to a Wisecam in our family room, and we took screenshots at the exact same time of the interface of the Wise app and the Eufy app, so you can see the difference, and of course the photos in the show notes. The photos I put in the show notes were taken around 11 in the morning, and the Eufy looks much clearer, the color is better, and the Wisecam is blown out on the left by the morning sun coming in from a window. We also looked at the cameras in comparison in the evening, and the difference was even more dramatic. The Wisecam actually looks smeary in comparison, and it prompted Steve to try to clean the lens in case that was the problem. In complete darkness, we compared the two cameras' infrared modes, and I think I'd give a slight edge to the Wisecam, but the difference wasn't very dramatic. Now, Wisecams come with 14 days of online storage, or you can use a micro SD card to store data locally. Eufy has a free 30-day trial, but after that, you have to choose between a basic or premier plan for cloud storage. The basic plan is $30 per camera or $100 per year for up to 10 cameras. That's actually pretty close to the cost of Ring Cloud storage for videos, but I was interested in not paying more money right away. That's when I discovered that Eufy supports storing your videos on your network-attached storage using the Real-Time Streaming Protocol, or RTSP. They have detailed instructions using Synology as the example NAS, which was great for me since I have a Synology now. At their direction, I installed Synology's surveillance station software, and with a bit of faffing about because they skipped one little step in the instructions, I now have my Eufy cam storing all of the videos and photos I take with it stored on my Synology. I like new toys that help justify the purchase of my Synology, because I knew there was a reason I needed one. The Eufy security software allows for a lot of customization of your camera. Motion detection, when enabled, gives you options to monitor the entire field of view, or you can define up to 2 activity zones. You can morph these activity zones to any kind of shape using the 6-point handles for each zone. Within the zones, or the entire field of view, you can select what type of object you want to detect. It can tell the difference between people, pets, or all other motion, or all 3. You can set the sensitivity to 5 different levels from lowest to highest. Eufy cams also have sound detection, and you can choose to detect all sound or just that of a baby crying. Now, I don't have a baby here most of the time, but I could see using one of the cameras I didn't need to help monitor one or both of my granddaughters the next time they come over. Again, with sound detection on Eufy, you can set the sensitivity level. One of the most interesting features of Eufy security is that you can set it to detect a pet when they go into a specific zone and then have it play back a recording of your voice. They show an example of a bed as a zone and a dog thinking about jumping on the bed and the camera saying, "Stop." Well, I wanted to test this feature, so I set the Eufy to detect people, and I set the zone to be Steve's chair, and then I recorded my voice saying, "Good boy, Steve." So basically, every single time that he wiggled his toes, it would make the speaker go off and tell him he was a good boy. Now, don't give me a hard time. He started it by changing the color of my hue lights when I wasn't looking, remember? Well, anyway, you have control of the video quality based on your bandwidth, and there's some settings to enable the microphone and speaker on the camera. You do want the speaker on so you can talk to your pets or, torture your husband. At least that's what I do with it. Now, I haven't gotten the full handle on the notification settings, and not because they don't have enough options. I just haven't figured out when, how, and where I want to be notified. At first, we had all the switches on, so if I crossed my legs sitting on the couch, we'd get alerts to our phones and watches. That was probably not what we were looking for. You can decide the interval in minutes between notifications of detection of people, pets, crying, or all sound or motion, and you can choose when you get a text notification or a thumbnail with the text notification. The real power of notifications is in the security section, where you have 6 options from which to choose. First, there are 3 modes: home, away, and disarmed. Disarmed has all device triggers disabled, so it won't record video no matter what goes on. Home and away have default settings that you can change. You can set these modes to record video, send push notifications, and even set off an alarm if the camera detects a person. Might be a bad idea to have the alarm go off if you're home, but that might be exactly what you want when you're away. But remember my opening premise. If I have to open the app, tap on security, and select home or away every time I leave or come home, that's not a smart home. Luckily, Eufy includes a geofencing option, a schedule-based option, or you can create your own customized option. Now, Steve and I really wanted to use the geofencing mode, but that never works when you've got multiple nerds, right? But Eufy does let multiple nerds play. I was able to add each of our phones to the geofencing rules, even though I had Steve sign in using my account, so they were 2 separate devices. I was able to adjust the radius around our home for it to trigger and enable 2 different devices, and now it will switch to the home mode if even one device is at home. That's brilliant, and the instructions were clear and obvious. One thing I don't want to take for granted is that I can always use the Eufy security app on my iPad in landscape mode. That doesn't seem like too much to ask, right? Along with many others in the Wise forums, I have begged them to make a landscape version for literally years, and they keep saying, I don't know, we might do that someday. So irritating. Well, the final step was to put the Eufy into HomeKit, but I was stopped in my tracks. Eufy explains that according to the HomeKit guidelines, if I put the camera in HomeKit, I would lose a lot of the features that are so cool. Remember, I bought the Eufy for the 2K video? HomeKit would force me down to 1080p. That was enough to stop me, but they went on to explain that I would lose the camera's ability to use on-device AI to identify people versus pets. Pet command functions would be disabled, and even activity zones would be disabled. But wait, there's more. Eufy cloud storage could no longer be used, and even storing my own darn videos on my own darn NAS would be disabled. About the only cool feature that wouldn't be lost would be geofencing to automatically set home and away on the camera. Now, if I just put the camera into HomeKit before learning about all its cool features, I probably would have been happy. Unfortunately, I learned the cool stuff it can do first, so I'm actually choosing 2K video and cool features over my beloved HomeKit. Now, it's not common for me to change my allegiance to a product. I tend to be excessively loyal, so it feels very odd to stray from recommending Wise products. But given the choice between Wise bulbs, motion sensor versus Hue, I am Hue all the way for me now. I'm not sure I'll go with Eufy cams over Wise cams for other solutions, but I'm sure having a lot of fun with the Eufy. Whew, that was a long read.
Boy.
That got me to 30 minutes.
Good job. You actually, you might finish the show about on time here. I'm surprised.
Yeah?
Yeah.
Because I still have to read. What do I have to read?
Well, all you have left is support the show. Yeah.
Yep. All right. I better keep going 3 minutes, and then I got to put in Bart. There we go. I want to give a double shout out to 2 awesome NosillaCastaways. Linda Goucher has been a longtime supporter of the NosillaCast as a friend, a contributor, and as a member via Patreon. She recently increased her pledge to help the show. I don't mention it often, but once you become a patron, you have great flexibility. You can up your pledge like Linda, you can lower it when you need to, or you just want to. And of course, you can turn it off at any moment. You are in complete control. Thank you, Linda, for your support and going to podfeet.com/Patreon to become a patron of the Podfeet podcast. The second person I want to thank is Eric, who used PayPal to show his support of the Podfeet podcast. I love that we have different ways to let you show your appreciation for the work we do here. Eric, You rock for going to podfeed.com/PayPal to support the Podfeed podcast. Boy, that was a lot of alliteration. Do you know how hard it is to not pop your P's when you say patron of the Podfeed podcast at PayPal.podfeed.Patreon? It's hard.
That's tough.
You going, Kevin? See ya.
Thanks for joining us, Kevin.
I'm gonna
say hi to the kids and everybody
bits
for us. The whole family. The whole family.
And then I'm going to drop in some... Oh, no. Don't
do it.
That was a close one. Copy link. Of all the ones, don't let me forget security bits. It's like, I'm sure there's people who just, turn on the podcast and then go find security bits and then move on.
Skip all that Podfeed stuff. Let's get to Bart.
Sorry, say again?
I don't think I should say it again.
Oh, really? Uh-oh. That's not what I wanted to do. I always forget. Is it Option T? Come on. Uh-oh. Hindenburg's mad. There we go. That one, it's Option T. There we go. What did you say? Were you naughty?
I was just saying, skip all that Podfeed stuff. Let's just go right to Bart.
Well, to be fair, I hear she's kind of a hack. All right. Increase this. I think that'll work. Let's see if I got that right. And that is Bart on me. That means that's Bart on me. And that's that one. And then we'll take that one straight up. I bet that's... Well, it's that time of the week again. It's time for Security Bits with Bart Bouchatz. What kind of new horrors do we have this week, Bart?
To be honest, with the way the world has been going, I was a bit distracted this week.
Yeah. It was hard to keep the news out of the show a little bit this week. Let's see how this goes. Boy, that was a lot of alliteration. My voice sounded bad there. PayPal to support the Podfeed podcast. Boy, that was a lot of alliteration. I sounded like Grant there. Well, it's that time of the week again.
Perfect.
It's time. All right, good. Uh-oh, another plugin? Is there something wrong with it? Hitting the link.
That's for the video doorbell, which we don't have.
Well, it's the software. It's the Eufy security software, I think.
Oh, it's not just for the video
Oh, no,
doorbell?
it is a doorbell plugin. I got my Ring doorbell. I probably won't need to do that. We'll see. You never know if they piss me off. Well, they did. They were in security bits this week.
Wait,
Remember,
we didn't
folks,
get a...
to stay.
We didn't get a bleep?
A plink? Oh, I deleted the plink already. Sorry.
Stay safe. Remember that you stay patched, so you stay secure.
There we go. All right. And now it is time for me to read us out. All right, here we go. Nope, wrong track. Save. Command R. Here we go. Well, that's going to wind us up for this week. Don't forget to send in your dumb questions, comments, and suggestions by emailing me at allison@podfeed.com. And you can follow me on Twitter @podfeed. Remember, everything good starts with podfeed.com. You want to be cool like Linda and be a patron of the Podfeed podcast? Podfeed.com/Patreon. You want to be cool like Eric and use PayPal? Podfeed.com/PayPal. Want to join our Facebook group? Podfeed.com/Facebook. Hey, Facebook? That's fine. We've got a great Slack community at podfeed.com/Slack. And if you want to join in the fun of the live show like Kelly Guimont, Rob Dunwood, and Tyson Ernst did for the first time, head on over to podfeed.com/live on Sunday nights at 5 p.m. Pacific time and join the friendly and enthusiastic Nosilla castaways. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed. Whew.
Okay, two things.
Everybody's leaving? Did I screw up?
No.
What?
Oh, people are leaving, but you didn't screw up. So we should count chapter marks, and don't forget to re-edit the main post.
What was I going to... Oh, yeah. Okay, to get rid of the stuff that I screwed up.
Because I still see it at the end.
Yeah, I haven't pushed it yet. Good.
Okay.
I won't forget. Thank you. I count 6.
Oh, 6. I count 5.
Did you count Bartender?
Yeah. So I got
You probably didn't count the DTNS link that I added for the
correct.
fact that you don't have yet.
Yeah, I didn't get that.
All righty. Well, we're good. Whew. I need to open a window in here. It's hot. All right. I'm going to drop in the closing music. But that was a good job on the count, Steve. All right, everybody. It sounds like people are leaving in droves. Thanks for listening and stay subscribed.
I think Rose is not in the live show chat, but she's
I still get to kiss her goodbye. Bye, Rose.
She's in the chat room, though.
Okay. Thanks for coming, Kelly. This was fun having you here.
Yeah, Kelly, it was good to see you here. Well, virtually.
It totally counts. Okay.
As it goes these days.
I'm going to send this to... That's the wrong tag. Oh, I don't know. Whatever. Bartender... Mac Mini. I think we should let the audience go.
I think we should. Everyone's.
I think they left.
Well, we have a couple of dedicated folks, but we should let them go as well. Is class dismissed, Podfeet?
Class is dismissed.